Hello there, another video for you with new stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, a phone call recording is being shared in social media. Phone call between a top Amhara leader and a Fano faction's public relations officer. Who is this top Amhara politician? What are the consequences of the leakage of this phone call? The Amhara leader just 3 to 4 days ago lashed out at Ethiopian federal government, Ethiopian National Defense Force, when he delivered a speech at Amhara Regional Council meeting. Secondly, viewers, yesterday we saw that a new batch of Amhara militia members completed their training in Amhara. A graduation ceremony was organized in Amhara. And since yesterday, we have been hearing that this militia was trained in Eritrea. Because last year, Amhara regional government confirmed that Eritrean military instructors were training Amhara Special Force, Amhara militia members. And some videos were published by Amhara Communication Department showing Eritrean instructors training Amhara soldiers. Thirdly, viewers, PM Abiy is in Italy. He arrived in Italy yesterday. What is the agenda of his visit? Before that, he welcomed the Chinese top diplomat Wang Yi, held meetings with him in Addis Ababa, and now he is in Rome, Italy. And lastly, a clip for you from Diga Demoth, Gojam, where yesterday a graduation ceremony of new Fano fighters was held. Hundreds of Fano fighters were seen. I have a clip of this ceremony for you. Firstly, viewers, it seems that a top Amhara leader going to be in trouble. He is very critical of the Amhara regional government, especially Ethiopian federal government. Since last year, federal government Prosperity Party have been isolating two top Amhara leaders, Gaido Undergacho and Johannes Bujalo. Both were top Amhara PP members, but we saw that Gaido Undergacho could not secure his position at Prosperity Party's Central Committee. Johannes was fired too. He was holding, I think, a position on federal level. He was fired. His security staff was withdrawn too. And some of his security staff members were arrested too. Gaido is silent. We haven't heard much from him. Both were very strong supporters of Amhara Fano. Johannes spoke at Amhara Regional Council meeting 3 days ago. He delivered a very fiery speech there, criticized the speaker of the Amhara Regional Parliament that Johannes was not being allowed to speak. And he said that Ethiopian military was operating in Amhara region without consultation, without permission from Amhara regional government. He said Amhara people are being marginalized. Several serious allegations were leveled by Johannes against the federal government, against Ethiopian federal forces, obviously. And he called for dialogue with Fano fighters. And then we saw that Amhara regional president offered to negotiate with Fano fighters, and mechanism has been established. Modalities are being discussed. Amhara government has announced the modalities, but Fano's response is awaited. Now, a leaked phone call of Johannes Bujalio is being shared in social media. 9 or 10-minute phone call between Johannes and Fano official. The Fano official is from East Amhara Fano. East Amhara Fano led by Mere Bodajo. Abiy Fando is the name of this Fano fighter. He is public relations officer of East Amhara Fano. The two are discussing several points. I could not get entire translation of this call. It is being alleged that Johannes can be heard directing Abiy Fando as if he is supervising the activities of Fano fighters. Now, if an Amhara politician is in touch with Fano fighters, it shouldn't be criticized. Why? Because Amhara regional government wants regional council members to start dialogue with Fano fighters, and it wants involvement of religious leaders, notables too. Obviously, Amhara regional council members will have to talk to Mere Bodajo, Masafint, Skandar, etc. Question is, what is the content of this call? Is Johannes directing Abiy Fando how to carry out attacks, which targets to hit, which officials to assassinate? If he is directing Fano fighters to carry out attacks, obviously he can be held accountable. I think Johannes could be in trouble. He'll be in trouble because this phone call is going to be used as a charge sheet against him. Already government trying to sideline him. Now it seems that he could be arrested. By the way, when he spoke at the Amhara Regional Council session, he said that he could be killed. He said, I might be killed. So he is already saying that his life is in danger. But if he is directing Fano fighters what to do, then obviously he will be considered a legitimate target by security forces, by elements backed by security forces. Hard times ahead for Johannes Bujalio. At the same time, let's see what he says. Is he going to own this a phone call, or is it a fake? Is it a doctored and fake call? That we'll see. Obviously, only through analysis the truth can come out. Will someone conduct analysis of this phone call? But we're waiting for Johannes' statement. What is he going to say? How is he going to respond? Is he going to deny, or is he going to accept that he talked to Abiy Fando? Let's see. But just 3 days ago, he criticized the government, and now his phone call leaked. Government knew, I think, that he was in touch with Fano fighters. Was he in touch for mediation purpose, or was he in touch to instigate Fano fighters that the Fanos should intensify their attacks? These are the questions which will be answered in coming days. Secondly, viewers, is Eritrea still training Amhara militia members? Since yesterday, we have been hearing rumors that Eritrea trained the militia which was seen in Amhara yesterday. In Amhara yesterday, graduation ceremony of a newly trained militia was held. Amhara regional government officials were there, and Colonel Damakis Zadu was there too. Hundreds of new militia members were seen. This militia is being called peace force, peacekeeping force. Armed militias unilaterally being trained are being called peace force. Tigray might also start training fighters, saying that Tigray is building a peace force, but these peace forces could clash, leading to start of a new escalation. Now, did Eritrean government or Eritrean trainers train this new militia? It's difficult to say, but Damakis Zadu has close ties with Eritrean military officers. And last year, Eritrean military instructors trained Amhara special forces. Amhara regional government, I think, invited them for training. Training was held on Amhara soil. Amhara regional government then published images, videos showing Eritrean instructors too, who trained some Amhara militia members and Amhara special force members. It happened last year. The training did not happen on Eritrean soil, if I am not wrong. It happened on Amhara soil. And then we saw some graduation ceremonies of those trained soldiers in Amhara. The uniform worn by the newly trained militia in Amhara resembles the military uniform worn by Eritrean soldiers. That is why people are speculating that maybe Eritrea is behind the training of this new militia. It's difficult to say. Obviously, we have no solid evidence, though Eritrea has been training, backing Amhara militias from Eritrean territory. Amhara militias, Ethiopian National Defense Force, entered Tigray's territories last year. The third round of fighting, main offensive on Tigray, came from Eritrean soil, launched by EDF, ENDF and Amhara forces. So Amhara forces have been on Eritrean soil. A clip for you, an old clip published last year when Eritrea trained Amhara militias, Amhara special forces, confirmed by Amhara government last year. Have a look at this old clip of last year, I think. Thirdly was PM Abiy is in Italy. He arrived in Italy yesterday. He was welcomed by Italian Prime Minister. He is attending a conference there, a conference on international migration. PM Abiy is one of the leaders who is attending this conference. Western countries want to stop the flow of refugees, asylum seekers from Africa. They offer incentives to African countries too. That is why we see such conferences held in Western countries. This flow of people, flow of migrants from Africa to Europe will continue until economic conditions improve in Africa. Yes, Italy will try to stop the flow of Africans, especially Eritreans and Ethiopians, by involving respective governments. But people adopt all types of means. They resort to all types of channels to reach Europe. They risk their lives. Human trafficking, human smuggling can only be stopped if these African countries ensure that their youths are employed on their home soil, industrialization, modern agriculture, other job creation projects and activities can stop the migration flow. But in Africa, in the Horn of Africa, East Africa, conflicts one after the other. What happened in Ethiopia? 2-year-long war. Now war in Sudan. Somalia, very destabilized. Eritrea, repressive regime, people fleeing. So until and unless there is change, economic change, democratic change in these countries, this flow of migrants from these countries to Europe will continue, I think. Let's see what PM Abiy gets from Italy. These governments get monetary support from European countries. African countries get support, financial support from European countries to stop migration from these countries to Europe. Let's see what PM Abiy gets. Fourthly, a clip for you from Digger Demot, Gojam, where we saw that hundreds of new Fano fighters completed their training yesterday. A ceremony was held. I have received a clip of this ceremony showing hundreds of Fano fighters who have completed the training. By the way, after Pretoria, we were hoping that this recruitment, military training, recruitment by armed factions will stop. But situation same. Rather, in the Amhara region, recruitments by armed factions, military, militias intensifying. Oromia recruitment already ongoing by Ola, by government forces. Tigray going to start, it already started the new recruitments to Tigray military. So on the ground, basically nothing changed, or you can say no significant change.
ብራዘር ሚጋርድ ሰው ስለሌለ ወደ ኋላ ብትሆን